Hello, everyone. My name is Jack Lader, and I am an accredited genealogy professional specializing in the South Central region of the United States. I'm going to show you some tips, tricks, and ideas on how to find your ancestors in newspapers.com and about 500 other newspapers, but mostly today, newspapers.com. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And be sure that you check out part one of two. Now, it doesn't matter whether you see one first or number two first. They don't have to be done simultaneously, but part one was chronicling America. I know that a lot of people have challenges trying to find, obituaries and others in chronicling America, and I take all the mystery out of it. So anyway, let's go ahead and start this right now. So this one, part two, is all about newspapers.com. Okay, so I've solved some really difficult problems using newspapers, and both obscure ones as well as newspapers.com and chronicling America. And I'm going to show you one today that I solved. And it was kind of tricky, but I'm going to show you how to make this easier. Okay. So what's today's game plan? I'm going to show you how to easily access over 500 digital newspaper sites within each of the 50 United States, how to solve difficult problems in chronicling America. Now that was part one, so be sure to check that out. It's in my channel. How to find isolated photos, including ancestors in chronicling America, is also in part one. Cool. It was cool stuff that I show in there. But today, it's how to solve difficult problems in newspapers.com and how to solve difficult connections with an obituary or a news article in newspapers.com. So now, if you'll give me your email address, I'm going to send you a spreadsheet that has over 550 digital newspapers in all of the 50 United States. You're going to have to email me on that. There's not a link below. I might add one here. Yeah, there's a possibility I might add it below, but if you don't see it below, then just click on the link up here or type in the link and save that. But anyway, this is going to have over 550 digital newspapers. Now, the way it's organized is it's by state. I'll give you the national ones up top. I kind of reduced this down to make this picture easy, but you'll have all 50 states below. So this is a valuable resource for the newspaper sites that are not in Chronicling America or newspapers.com or the other ones. So part two, this one is all about how to solve digital or difficult problems in newspapers.com. And I love this site. It's absolutely awesome. And so let me just show you this as an example. My dad has a great grandmother by the name of Melvina Clifton, and she died in 1899. So if I go ahead and type in Melvina Clifton, 1899 in newspapers.com, I'm going to select St. Louis, Missouri, and let's just see what happens. Click here on search. And this is what I get. Now, guys, I would invite you, I probably should have said this earlier, but I'm going to invite you to open up a new screen right now. Let's go back here. Open up a new screen. Follow along with me. This is going to be easier if you have another screen, because I'm going to go through this website pretty quickly. And if you need to stop the video, that's fine. You can hit the pause button, but open up another screen. Go to newspapers.com. Go ahead and type that in right now. And then if you'll follow me and just type in what I do, you're going to learn a lot easier than if I just cruise through these pages. Okay. So I'm typing in Melvina Clifton, 1899, St. Louis, Missouri. Click search. Stop if you need to, but then come back to this. So searching Melvina Clifton in 1899. So now the cool thing is when you click on the calendar portion here, then you're able to put in an exact date range. So I'm just searching within November 1899 because this is when she died. And I know that from other sources. So click on search, and we didn't get anything, right? Within that. So I opened up the search a little bit more to more than just a month that she died, and I just typed in November or just 1899. Sorry, 1899, and I only got one result, but it wasn't her. It's kind of frustrating. So I'm going to show you how to solve these problems. Okay. So go to the next page here. So I tried Melvina's first name only. So what I'm doing is I'm going through a challenge that you may face, and I'm going to show you how to solve that challenge. So I type in Melvina's first name only within the month of November. And again, nothing. So how am I going to solve this problem? Okay, so click on the next page here. So what I did is I just typed in Clifton. It's a more general term, I guess. Melvina is kind of unique. I kept the date range of November in here, and I get 41 matches. Well, I happen to know her death date, and so I can narrow that down if I need to. So let's try that. After several adjustments in the month of November, I finally found between the 15th and the 16th. See, she died in November 15th, and here she is right over here on the left. And it's kind of interesting because even though she died on the 15th, she shows up in the 15th newspaper, and you'll see why here in a minute. Because look at this. She died at 1 a.m. So somehow the papers in the morning caught this quick enough and put it in their paper. So here's Melvina Clifton. Melvina shows up plain as day, but it's a little bit blurry, right? So why couldn't I search her with the keyword of Melvina Clifton? I mean, I see Clifton here in capital letters. I see Melvina. It's a little blurry, but it's still there, right? And Clifton. Well, what's the problem? Why couldn't I get her easier the first time? And you're going to run into this problem, okay? But there's a solution. Now, what I do is I'm going to show you what we need to do is we're going to click on the clippings page and see what the index text looks like. See if the problem is there. So what you do is you click on the clipping right here at the top right, and that allows you to put a box around the article or the obituary. And then you click on clippings right here, and I'm going to do that clip right here. Then you're going to view clippings right here. Click on it, view clippings. Now, see this page here? If you click on show article text, OCR, that's the optical character recognition. That shows you what this is going to show you what the computers, the algorithm uses to index the page. Now look at the problems here. The OCR had difficulty with it. Here's Melvina's name. Look at that. It doesn't even make sense. It's not even close to Melvina, right? Well, it's no wonder when I typed in Melvina Clifton that nothing showed up. When I typed in Melvina by itself, nothing showed up. But something did show up with Clifton because it liked that name, Clifton. So this is the newspaper she was found in. But look at the children. She has children down here that are indicated. For example, one person that I happen to know of, her name is Christina Anderson. Well, I'm circling it right here. This is supposed to be Christina Anderson. Well, the OCR isn't going to pick that up. Not very easily, right? Maybe and or MM, whatever that is, but it just isn't going to show up. So we found her by just using Clifton. But what if you couldn't see Melvina or Clifton? Well, then what do you do? Well, you got to search by the newspaper, and I'm going to show you how to solve the problem. Okay. Oh, by the way, I got to tell you something before I get to that. When citing the source, use the link under the view clipping button right here. This way, if a person doesn't have an account, they can still read the obituary. So, for example, if you need to post the URL as a source in Family Search or Ancestry.com. If you click on View Clippings, this is what's going to happen. Click on Share. I want you to notice the difference. Right here, this link that shows up, this does not require an account to view the obituary. But if you use the link that's above here for the newspaper itself, this one does require an account. And I tested it out. I checked it. So when you post to Ancestry.com or Family Search, use this link right here. That way anyone can have access to that obituary. Often I'll see these posted on Ancestry or on Family Search, and they don't have a link to it, or they don't show where it is. It's very important that you indicate where you got this information from, so that the person searching doesn't have to try to guess. So this isn't a guessing game. This is real professional work. Okay, so use this link here. Now, let me show you something else. Okay, now what if we couldn't find Melvina Clifton using the first or last name? We found it with the last name, but not the first, right? In that case, we would have to browse the newspaper. But with the city as large as St. Louis, you would have to know which newspaper to browse. Start with an obituary index. I started with Ancestry.com, compliments of St. Louis Public Library. Let me get a drink here just a second. So I go ahead and enter in the first and last name in the search fields right here. Okay. Then, so again, this is in Ancestry.com. Okay, click on search, and this is what I got. This was really unfortunate. I mean, not unfortunate. This is really very fortunate. Look what happened. Somehow, the Ancestry.com had in its index Melvina Clifton. Now, don't ask me how they got it. It could be that this may have come from an old book, one that existed 50 years ago or 75 years ago, and that's how they got this. Post dispatch, but so anyway, and incidentally, that link below doesn't take you to the newspaper. That's just the link for this index. So the cool thing is we have a name, we have a date, and we have the newspaper. And it shows you which edition of the newspaper it is, 11/15. So all we have to do, if we're unsuccessful with a first and last name search, we can search by the newspaper. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. I'm going to go to newspapers.com. This time I'm going to click on the search feature right here and then select browse right here. Do that right now. If you have a different window open, click on browse. And then when you do that, when you click on browse, you're going to get this page. And this allows you to select the state, the U.S., and then the state, St. Louis Post-Dispatch. That's what showed up in the index in Ancestry. Then 1899, the November 15th. Check this out. This is cool. Go to November 15th. And when I went through these pages, I lucked out and I found her on page 2. Now, guys, one thing to remember is that what if you have to go through several issues, like 4 or 5 issues? Well, if you found deaths in the second page, more likely you'll see deaths on the second page on November 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. But I just happened to find her in the second page on the 15th because that's what the index said, right? So I didn't have to go through all the other issues. You may or may not have to, but I didn't have to. I was lucky. So I go to the second page here, click, and look over here, deaths. There she is. We found Melvina at the bottom right-hand portion of the page, far right-hand column. So I'm going to click the plus sign up here, plus, make it bigger. There she is. It took a few extra steps. We had to go to Ancestry to find the obituary index, but this told us exactly where to find it. And her obituary mentions several family names. So this is full of genealogical gold right here. The date, how old she was, mother of George M., and that happens to be my dad's grandfather, my great-grandfather, Frederick Clifton and Christy Anderson. And in the rest of this information, awesome stuff. So you don't have to have a name, a first and a last name. I'll guarantee you guys, most people are going to give up if they don't find their obituary using just the name. I did it for a long time until I knew how to utilize this browse feature. Now, I'm going to show you how to solve a problem, okay? How would you solve this problem? And we're going to solve this with a newspaper. Check it out, okay? Charles and Melvina Clifton. Their oldest son was named Charles, age 6 years old. Now, this is in the 1860 census in St. Louis, Missouri. But look at this. This is a conflict. Look at the 1870 census. Here's Charles way down here, listed as a 10-month-old, but there's no Charles up here. What happened? Did the census taker make a mistake? I see him all the time. Did he make a mistake here? How did he get it wrong? Why would the parents name a second son named Charles? Well, at first I thought that the census taker was trying to name another child, and maybe they got the name wrong. But what if it's correct? What if the first Charles died, and the dad, Charles Clifton, wanted to maintain the name Charles? What if there was a second Charles? So if it's right, the second son named Charles was born in August of 1869. Where did I get August from? So this 1870, June of 1870, census taker says that he's 10 months old. Well, if you count 10 months back, think about it. That takes you back to August of the previous year, 1869. So that's a clue. Can we find something about his birth maybe in 1869, in August? Well, the mystery begins to be unraveled. I happen to find this in newspapers.com, and the mystery begins to be unraveled. Let's read this. The wife of Mr. Charles Clifton, news dealer, was safely delivered of twins on the 19th. Now, this is an August paper, August 1869, a double edition. Mother and children doing well. Father ditto ditto. They were in a hurry. But look at the date below in the citation. This is August 21st, 1869. That's 10 months before the census record. And I was able to prove that someone was born, but they were twins. Now, it doesn't name the child Charles, but my mystery begins to get unraveled a little bit more, because what if Charles was a twin? Who's the other twin? Well, our family group sheet that I inherited from another family member lists a female by the name of Adela, born in 1869, but I had no proof of her birth or death. I didn't know whether to believe it or not. I've always carried it through, but I had a hard time proving it. The family group sheet had no reference to a twin. So what do? Well, I looked up, I wasn't as successful trying to find a birth or a death record of that Charles Clifton, except for the newspaper, but I did find a birth record for Adela in St. Louis in 1869. So here it is. It was in Family Search. Note that in the month column, look right here, I highlighted this, years, months, days. Here's Adela, or Adelia, however you want to say that, 1 month old, and it's in St. Louis. But the thing is, the death record, in those days, they didn't, at least in St. Louis, it didn't require the names of the parents. It wasn't proof of her connection yet. But check this out. the date of birth of Adela would be estimated to be about plus or minus the 26th of August, 1869, because this record was actually listed as 26 September, 1869. The death record says that she's 1 month old. So that puts her at around August of 69, pretty close to that August 19th, right? So we start looking, we start searching. And this is what I found. I found Adela, twin daughter of Charles and Malvina Clifton, age 1 month, 7 days. So this named Adela with her parents, Charles and Malvina. Now remember, the death record above here, it didn't list the parents. All we had was an Adela Clifton. We didn't know who the parents were, but this proves it. Adela, twin daughter of Charles and Malvina. So that's evidence of Adela. The other evidence we have of Charles, the twin, is with the census record. Now, Adela didn't show up in the 1870 census because she died before that. Kind of sad, but she died, so she wasn't going to be in the census. But Charles lived old enough, the twin lived old enough to be in the census. So that's how valuable a newspaper can be, where I couldn't find and I couldn't prove these two twins in any other way except with the newspaper. So anyway, this death notice linked Adela with her parents, Charles and Malvina. The name search for Adela gave 0 results. I couldn't find her any other way. And the reason why is because there wasn't an index and no OCR text was available. Also, there was no obituary index for Adela. This was a little bit tougher. I couldn't find an obituary index. So what I did is I found this death notice by simply browsing the same newspaper that the twins' birth announcement was found. I did not find an obituary index digitally on microfilm or in the books. I couldn't find it anywhere. If it exists, I don't know where it is. It may not exist. But I found her using the same newspaper of the previous twins' announcement. And if you type in Adela Clifton or Adela, you're not going to find her. But I found her using the browse feature. This clipping was found using the death register of Adela with the birth announcement of the twins in St. Louis Globe Democrat newspaper, using the browse feature in newspapers.com. So what's the lesson that I learned? And I've been working on this name for a long time until I learned how to use the browse feature. The lesson I learned is don't give up just because the name search gives no results. You'll find your ancestors. Okay, so this is something else that's interesting. Okay, kind of sad but interesting. This is the family of a 5th grade aunt and uncle of mine. When I saw this listing in Family Search, the death dates of the children didn't make sense. Look at the death dates. It had to be wrong. Or at least I thought so. Look at the death dates, 1864, 1, 2, 3, 4. What happened? Now, I realize, as well as you do, that there's mistakes in these, these digital sites all the time. This came from, Family Search, but so I kind of assumed that these dates had to be wrong because I've seen mistakes so many times before. But I investigated. I wanted to see what happened. I couldn't find death certificates for these people in Callaway County, Missouri. I'm not even sure if a death register exists in Callaway County, is where they were from. So I went to newspapers.com to find the answer. And this is what I found. In the Missouri Telegraph, 22 April, 1864. Check it out, read it. It's kind of sad, but it solved the problem. On the 11th instant, that means the same month, of scarlet fever, Lavina Jane, aged 1 year, 11 months, 11 days. On the 14th instant, Kitty Ann, age 5, 7 months, 11 days. On the same day, George William, aged 2 years, 1 month, and 14 days. On the 16th instant, John Simpson, aged 3 years, 8 months, 6 days, all children of John P. and Lydia Jane Osborne of this country. I mean, how sad. When I saw that, I thought of my daughter, because my daughter lost a baby when he wasn't a baby, he was 5 years old, but in kindergarten, barely. And I just can't imagine what she went through. It was a sad time for our family, but I can't imagine what John and Lydia went through, losing 5 children in 1 month. Can you imagine that? But this solved the problem. I was able to pinpoint the exact dates because they give them right here. And that's why in the previous one, we have 1864 in all of these children. But what I think is amazing is that they had a baby that was born like a month before, and the baby survived. Don't ask me how. Maybe the baby was quarantined, and the baby was probably on mother's milk, and the immunity that the babies get from the mom helped. She survived, the mom survived, and the baby survived, and some of the older children survived. But all of these children in 1 month. Anyway, let me just end with this, okay? My father died in about seven years ago. He's the great grandson of Melvina Clifton, who we talked about before. And at one time, my dad thought his family was lost forever because of a lot of different reasons. But when we discovered our family history, his life was changed forever. And his life was impacted so greatly. Dad used to ask his closest friend, "How's your family?" Well, I think my dad can say for his own family and ancestors, well, we're doing pretty darn well. I'll tell you, it made a huge impact. Family search saves lives. It puts families together, both here and on the other side. And so I invite you to utilize these resources in newspapers.com and Chronicling America and other sites. Don't forget to send me an email. Get that document I was telling you about. Just shoot me an email. This will help out. But newspapers.com and Chronicling America are the 2 sites I always go to first. So anyway, I hope that was valuable to you. Make sure to go to part 1 and find your family, put them together. This is an exciting thing. And it's more than just a hobby. It's putting your family together. See you next time. Bye.